It's industry standard.
Make it funny.
Welcome to season 2 of the show. We're glad to be back. Over break, we decided to change some things to try to improve the show and set a new standard, an industry standard. We're always looking for new ideas, so if you want to work on the show, then stop by our weekly production meeting, which is held in the equipment cage in the basement of the library on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. If you're interested but occupied at that time, then email us at industrystandardprogramming@gmail.com. This episode, I sat down with some participants from the MSU 72-hour film project, which took place from January 8th through the 11th. Groups had to write, shoot, and edit a 5 to 10-minute short film in that time. They also had to include 3 elements: a character, Kyle, the parking lot attendant, a prop, an ID badge, and a line of dialogue, which was, quote, "You sure about that?" Groups were then randomly assigned 2 genres that their film had to be geared toward. Links to the full short films discussed in the description down below. Later on, we also have some movie magic for you. We hope you enjoy. Welcome back to the show. Joining me are 2 guests who participated in the MSU 72-hour film festival. First, Rachel Martinez. She worked on The Dog Days, which is a short comedy which follows Jimmy Murphy, a young sports commentator who gets the opportunity of a lifetime. Rachel, thanks for joining us. And second, we have Kassidy Halbeisen. She worked on Paranoia, a short stoner comedy which follows 2 young teens who are on a smoke session which takes a bad left turn. Thanks both of you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
First, we're going to talk about Paranoia a bit. So, Cass, do you want to just give a little setup for the scene we're about to look at? Just sort of set the stage.
Yeah, sure. This is kind of, we're jumping in here at like the climax of the horror aspect of this piece. What we're about to see is when they discover that the villain character is coming and they're running away.
All right, let's take a look.
Ooh, look! Look!
What?
Over there! Look!
What?
It's him! He's coming! He's coming! He's coming! He's coming! Go, 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 go! Go!
That scene was really fun to shoot, especially because we had to shoot it several times because of my acting. Like I didn't know how to act scared, so we had to shoot that one a million times. When we pulled away, it was really funny because we actually had to VO the screams that you're hearing because the original audio, we were like, ah, like it was really like fake. So when we did pickups the next day, we got some real genuine screams in there. But yeah, that's just kind of like the climax of the film. It was like the point where the tension kind of gets released, and it was really fun to edit.
So you mentioned editing, and obviously you're at least one of the leads, if not the lead in this. Were there other roles that you took on during production?
Yeah. For this project, this was my first time I've ever directed anything or really like written something that kind of puts paper to screen. It was really cool. So I played a lot of hand in writing the script. It was only a 2-person crew. So we, once we got our genre, the idea popped in my head right away because it's actually, it's based on a true story. So yeah, I was a director. I acted in it. I played Tiffany, I guess you could say one of the main characters. And then I edited it a lot. I did like the major, like just like the cuts.
What was like the most enjoyable aspect of the whole thing?
The most enjoyable aspect.
And you can't say this interview right now.
Darn. This project really kind of cut me out of my comfort zone for the first time in a really long time. It was a lot of trial and error, so it was a lot of learning opportunities. And I just kind of had to like come up with solutions really quickly, which is something I'm not naturally good at, I would say. Another thing that I really enjoyed was just being able to express myself in a way that was like surprisingly like free, because I've spent a lot of time up until now in my time here in like the JMP department. I spent a lot of time working on other people's projects, and it was really cool to have the opportunity to do something that was kind of creatively integral to my kind of method of storytelling, and just like something that was really close to kind of like home for me. And it felt very authentic, and it was the first thing that felt like real that I've produced in a minute. So it was a really good exercise of just like kind of being able to be creative after, you know, working hard on a bunch of stuff that I didn't necessarily like get that fulfillment from.
Kassidy, thanks again for joining us, and we'll be right back with Rachel's segment.
And now, a Davenport Digital original with Kassidy
On my way to the park.
Oh, you did tell me your story, yeah.
Yes.
and Brennan.
Quit talking. Hey, what's up, dude?
They show us what they like.
We have some headphones. We have these lav kits. We have several lav kits. My opinion, these are the much superior lavs.
Favorite piece of gear is probably actually, what are those lavs called? The ones that are Bluetooth? Pretty cool.
And what they don't like.
These abominations, these Rove lavs. Tell me you don't know anything about audio without telling me you don't know anything about audio. You want to be a content creator? These are for you.
What do you use to make films in here?
My classmates.
If you really want to make the best film, I got the right camera for you. 100. We got 1080p on this hoe. HD 53x advanced zoom.
All that and more on Keeping Up with the Cage.
This is the women's restroom.
Sure about that? That was a clip from The Dog Days. Rachel, can you just tell us why you chose that clip in particular to show?
Yeah, I just thought that clip was really cool. I really enjoyed doing like the dolly shots of it, and like kind of like, I don't know, it was a challenge for all of us to kind of pace ourselves at the exact same time, since you were like in the scene. He was on camera, Aiden was on camera, and I was doing sound and the focus. So it was really cool. And I think also like the whole like montage and like how everything was just going really fast kind of builds up to where he's going and to his like life and just like into his job that he's currently like going towards. So it was just really like, I don't know, it just adds to the scene and adds to his character, how like a fast-paced world he lives in.
I saw you said you did sound. Have you ever done sound on a production before?
No, this was my first time actually doing sound on a production, so I was just a little bit nervous to like what I was gonna actually have to do, but it was pretty simple. Like it was holding the sound bag, just making sure like you were able to hear Luke throughout his like mic, and just kind of shouting sound bags on. So it was pretty much that. So it was fun to deal with. Yeah.
You don't have a directing credit, but as this still shows, this is like your best piece of directing right here. What gave you the idea that Jimmy Murphy should shit his pants to end the film?
I just thought, since he's already running and he's like throwing that dog just straight in his mouth and kind of holding it in there, I was just like, maybe if he holds his pants, or like, since he's like running and like falling and like kind of throwing up. Maybe it just, I don't know. It's just kind of like what I thought would be funny.
It just needs a little movie magic.
All right, for this week, we're going to talk about a film that I love dearly, but is also being praised because it has just gotten 16 Oscar nominations, which has, never happened before. The movie's called Sinners, directed by, what's his name? Ryan Coogler, thank you, I should know it. But anyways, the scene I want to talk about specifically is the beginning. What's so important about this is that this is technically in the present, and everything that we see after this is in the past. But it plays out this whole important, it sets you up that this is kind of going to be a horror because you see a little bit of a jump scare, but we'll play this out. Now this is the important part, is we get to this moment where we see the main character, Sammy, talking to his dad. His dad sees him all covered in blood and everything, and there's this whole dilemma in the movie where Sammy's trying to figure out his future. Does he go into the same way as his dad, or does he follow his dreams to go into music? That right there, if we could pause it and go back if we can at all, just a little bit. We don't have to. But what we see in that flash, the really quick jump scare, is of the bad guy in the movie, Remick, who is a vampire, and he and the dad are similar characters in some ways, where they are trying to corrupt Sammy, and they're using the idea of religion in different aspects, but in the same way as a tool to control Sammy, his future, but on a broader scale, the black community and stuff. There's a lot of, colonization that's kind of happening in this, forcing religion onto people. And, you get this quick shot of them standing in the same way, kind of highlighting that, they're similar in their nature, in their character, how they communicate. It highlights something really well in this, where Remick is not just the only bad guy. His dad, in some ways, is kind of an antagonistic figure, because he is using religion in a similar way as Remick has to make his son do what he wants to do, rather than letting him go off and be what he wants to be, And eventually he does decide that, he wants to pursue music. And that's what saves him in the end, too. And so it becomes this great, music becomes this tool to, free him from the religious grip and, chokehold that's kind of had on him his whole life, in all these different aspects and ways. But I think that what this does in the very beginning sets all that up in a really well done way, and especially after you watch the whole movie and then you go back and watch this again, I think you can appreciate it more so because of that. And that's all I really have to say about it. So, and that's movie magic.
Welcome back, and we have a new face on the couch here, Aiden Rose. He was the DP for the Dog Days. So Aiden, thanks for joining us.
It's good to be here.
I bet it is.
Aiden, I actually have a few burning questions for you because I myself am an aspiring DP.
Me too.
Sorry, that.
What's up?
Crazy. Sorry.
Me too.
You are one. Okay. I really admired all of the shots and the movements in this earpiece. Can you describe your process? We talked a lot about the dolly shots and all of that, but how did you kind of come up with those ideas for the dolly shots and the zoom shots and all of that?
Yeah, I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel whatsoever. I think you could look at any of those shots and pull a one-to-one comparison of the movie or whatever we were watching that made us think of it. So, we're not, making something new per se, but the dolly's cool.
Were you holding it, like the camera, was that like shoulder mount and then Rachel doing the hand?
No, we actually did like 0 shoulder mount for this,
Okay.
except for like the walking with Luke in his car, and then maybe like another scene, but basically none. We like locked everything off on the tripod, so I was able to have my hands free.
Or the suction cup.
Oh yeah, that's another thing is I was curious how you film those shots in the car where it's facing Luke and he's doing all those like vocal warm-ups.
That was the hardest shot to set up, and in my opinion, one of the least good-looking ones.
Least satisfying, at least.
Yeah, for sure. I think the problem was we built it so differently for like that morning of like everything in the car, and then once we knew we wanted to do a suction cup something, but like I had to break down everything and like put on a new mount for the camera, and like all on like the side of the road, and I'm like taking forever, and then I finally get it, and then like the monitor's like not working, so I just like unplugged it and like flipped out the screen. So it's just like a suction cup on the inside of a windshield basically with our widest lens, and it's still not wide enough. And then we're like, oh god, now Rachel's in the shot because we're like pointing right back at it, so we had to move. Nightmare. And I mean, I really like what Luke is doing in that scene, but I mean, the camera shot is just whatever. Continuing with the car, I mean, I guess we both tried to shoot in the car. I mean, I feel like every, aspiring filmmaker is like, we got to have some sick shot in the car with the suction cup or whatever we're doing. What was your guys' approach to trying to film in the car?
That was hard. We did have some shots where I had Mona just straight up just like hang out in the back in the trunk. We folded Matt's seats down in the back, and there's some shots where we're actually moving and driving. Those didn't really make the cut, but because like they were like really shaky. But we ended up having to open the back of the trunk and then Mona stand outside of the car and like go in like that. So like all of the wider shots that you see that are like that, Mona did. And then there was a day, the second day, where we had to do some pickup shots. I wasn't gonna put Mona through the whole 20-degree weather at 9 p.m. again. So I was just like, stay home, work on the edit. So I went out and did it. So it was just me and Matt shooting that day. So the last shot after they pull away and like escape from Kyle, the shot where they're like, is he there? That shot I had to, I just set it up on a bunch of coats and just shit in the back of his car. I had the shoulder mount. I had it on the shoulder mount. And it stayed like that. I mean, that wasn't my favorite shot because our heads cut off at like the nose, but it worked for the pickup shot that we needed to get. Now that we have everybody back here, I wanted to ask you guys, I was curious because been on set with you guys before. I've heard you guys joke around a lot. And I was wondering what the
joke around?
Yeah,
I take this very seriously.
A lot of the jokes that I heard seemed very familiar. So I just wanted to kind of ask about how the writing process went for you guys.
We wrote like a treatment with like one scene, and then the one scene we wrote we didn't use.
We wrote more than that, though.
Pretty much.
We wrote more than that. That like informed the rest of the thing, I think, in many ways, like writing out that whole scene. So even though we didn't really use that, we didn't use that scene at all. I still think like a lot of that sort of served as like a touchstone for the rest of like the tone and the humor of the piece was like that scene that we wrote out.
What was the line he says, the last line before like the big like punch where like you have like the music come in? What was that line?
Oh, that is actually really funny.
When I run?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like when you practice that triangle and you're like,
I say like,
put that in your pipe and smoke it.
yeah. Asshole, like put that in your pipe and smoke it, buddy, or something like that. And then I flip them off.
So good.
All right, that concludes the MSU 72-hour film project. Thanks again to Rachel, Kassidy, and Aiden for coming along, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again to Rachel, Kassidy, and Aiden for joining me on Couch Corner. Going forward, we'll be releasing new episodes of the show every other Monday, so be on the lookout. Thanks again.
Oh, God! Why?